The Order of St. John, formerly the Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem and also known as St. John International, is a royal order of chivalry first constituted as such by royal charter from Queen Victoria in 1888. It evolved from a faction of the Order of Malta that emerged in France in the 1820s and moved to Britain in the early 1830s, where, after operating under a succession of Grand Priors and different names, it became associated with the founding in 1882 of the St. John Ophthalmic Hospital near the Old City of Jerusalem and the St. John Ambulance Brigade in 1887. The order is found throughout the Commonwealth of Nations, Hong Kong, the Republic of Ireland, and the United States of America, with the worldwide mission to prevent and relieve sickness and injury, and to act to enhance the health and well-being of people anywhere in the world. The order's approximately 25,000 members, known as confreres, are mostly of the Protestant faith, though those of other Christian denominations or other religions are accepted into the order, except via appointment to certain government or ecclesiastical offices in some realms. Membership is by invitation only and individuals may not petition for admission. The Order of St. John is perhaps best known through its service organizations, including St. John Ambulance and St. John Eye Hospital Group, the memberships and work of which are not constricted by denomination or religion. It is a constituent member of the Alliance of the Orders of St. John of Jerusalem. Its headquarters are in London and it is a registered charity under English law. Structure. Offices. Queen Elizabeth II, the reigning monarch of the Commonwealth realms since 1952, is at the apex of the Order of St. John as its sovereign head, followed by the Grand Prior. Since 1974, Prince Richard, Duke of Gloucester. He, along with the 4 or 5 other great officers, the Lord Prior of St. John, who acts as the lieutenant of and deputy to the Grand Prior, the Prelate, who is an Anglican bishop, the Deputy Lord Prior, who acts accordingly as a lieutenant and deputy to the Lord Prior, and the Sub-Prelate, who has interests in the commanderies and associations of the organization, as well as the priors and chancellors of each of the orders. 8 priories and the hospitaller make up the Grand Council. On recommendation of that body, the Grand Prior appoints all the grand officers, besides himself, and may also appoint members of either Grade I or Grade II as other officers, known as the principal officers, such as the Secretary-General, and honorary officers, such as the genealogist, who will hold office for a period not exceeding 3 years. The Grand Prior may also appoint a Secretary of the Order, who holds office at the pleasure of the Grand Prior or until resignation. A subset of the Grand Council is the Honours and Awards Committee, which considers all recommendations for appointment or promotion into the grade of Bailiff or Dame Grand Cross, appointment or promotion into any grade of a person not resident within any priory's territory, and advises the Grand Council in respect of the award of its life-saving medal and service medal. List of Grand Priors since the Order's Royal Charter of 1888. The Grand Prior has been appointed by the sovereign head and has always been a member of his or her family. The Reverend Sir Robert Peat, Sir Henry Dimmock, Lieutenant Colonel Sir Charles Lamb, Rear Admiral Sir Alexander Arbuthnot, the Duke of Manchester, Prince Albert Edward, Prince of Wales, Prince George, Prince of Wales, Prince Arthur, Duke of Connaught and Strathearn, Prince Henry, Duke of Gloucester, Prince Richard, Duke of Gloucester. List of Lord Priors from 1888 until 1943. This position was named Sub-Prior, and from 1943 until 1950 it was named Prior. As Sub-Prior Prince Albert Victor, Duke of Clarence and Avondale, Prince George, Duke of Cornwall and York, the Marquis of Linlithgow, vacant, the Viscount Knutsford, the Earl of Plymouth, the Earl of Scarborough, as Prior the Earl of Plymouth, the Earl of Clarendon, the Lord Wakehurst, as Lord Prior the Lord Wakehurst, the Lord Catcher, Maurice Dorman, the Earl Cathcart, the Lord Grey of Naunton, the Lord Vestey, Colonel Eric Barry, Anthony Mellows, Neocon. Grades. After the officers of the order follow members, who are divided into 6 hierarchical grades, all having accordant postnominal letters. Grade I is limited to only the members of the Grand Council plus no more than 21 others, though royalty and heads of state of any country may be appointed as a bailiff or dame Grand Cross without counting towards the complement. All priors, should they not already be in the grade or higher, are made a knight or dame of justice upon their assignment. This formally enabled them, along with all bailiffs and dames Grand Cross, to nominate 2 personal esquires, just as each knight or dame of grace could nominate 1 personal esquire, subject to the Grand Council's scrutiny. Knights and dames receive the accolade from the Grand Prior when they are touched on the shoulder with a sword and are given their robes and insignia. However, postnominal letters of the order are not used outside the organization itself, and a knight and dame may not use the prefix sir or dame, though they may request from their local heraldic authority a personal coat of arms, should they not already be entitled to use one, and have it adorned with emblems of the Order of St. John. Bailiffs and dames Grand Cross additionally have the right to be granted heraldic supporters for life. Further, membership only grants precedence within the order, which is graded as follows: the sovereign head, the Grand Prior, the Lord Prior of St. John, the Prior of a priory or the knight or dame commander of a commandery when within the territory of the establishment, the prelate of the order, the deputy Lord Prior or the deputy Lord Priors, and if more than one by seniority in the grade, the sub-prior of the order. Former great officers, bailiffs and dames Grand Cross, the prior of a priory or the knight or dame commander of a commandery outside the territory of the establishment. Members of the Grand Council not included above by seniority in the grade. The principal officers by seniority of their office. The sub-prelates and the honorary sub-prelates. The hospitaller of the order. Knights and dames. Chaplains. Commanders. Officers, members, esquires. Precedence within each grade is dictated by date of appointment, save for those in grade I who are either a head of state or royal, in which case they all precede other members in the grade as follows: members of the sovereign's family, heads of state from the Commonwealth of Nations, foreign heads of state, members of other Commonwealth royal families, members of foreign royal families. Awards are presented within the order: the Priory Vote of Thanks, the St. John's Provincial, Territorial Commendation, the Life-Saving Award in Silver, and the Service Medal of the Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem. Priories and commanderies. Following constitutional changes made in 1999, the Priory of England and the Islands was established alongside the existing priories of Wales, Scotland, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and the United States. In 2013, the Priory of Kenya and in 2014 the Priory of Singapore were formed. Each is governed by a prior and a priory chapter. Commanderies, governed by a knight or dame commander and a commandery chapter, may exist within or wholly or partly without the territory of a priory, known as dependent or independent commanderies, respectively. Any country without a priory or commandery of its own is assumed into the home priory of England and the islands, many of these being smaller Commonwealth of Nations states in which the order has only a minor presence. The Order of St. John is said to have arrived in Canada in 1648, as the second governor of New France, Charles de Montmagny, was a member of the original order, but it was not until 1883 that the first branch of the modern organization was established in the Dominion, at Quebec City, growing to 12 branches by 1892. The Order of St. John today constitutes part of the Canadian National Honours System, and the Priory, established in 1946 out of the Commandery of Canada, is the largest outside of the United Kingdom, with some 6,000 members. The Governor-General serves as the Prior and Chief Officer in Canada, while Lieutenant Governors act as the Vice Priors, overseeing the administration of the Order in their respective province. These individuals thus automatically become knights or dames of justice upon their assuming viceregal office. An American Society of the Order of St. John was established in 1957 as a foundation to assist the order with charitable work, after 1961 focusing its efforts specifically on the St. John Ophthalmic Hospital in Jerusalem and some other organizations aiding the sick. This branch was successful enough that Queen Elizabeth II in 1996 officially created the Priory of the United States of America, the seventh priory at the time, with John R. Drexel as the first prior. By late 2000, the U.S. Priory had approximately 1,100 members. As citizens of a country that did not have the sovereignty of the Order of St. John vested in its head of state, American inductees who first joined the new priory were specifically asked to only pay due obedience to the governing authorities of the order, in all things consistent with your duty to your own country, thus eliminating any question of loyalty to a foreign head of state superseding American postulants' duties as U.S. citizens. Vestments and Insignia. Upon admission into the Order of St. John, converts are presented with appropriate insignia, each level and office being depicted by different emblems and robes for wear at important occasions for the order. Common for all members except esquires is the badge, consisting of an 8-pointed Maltese cross. That for the sovereign head is gold with arms of white enamel and the embellishments rendered in gold, all surmounted by a jeweled St. Edward's crown, while those for the offices of the order are the same save for the Grand Priors having the crown made only of gold, the Lord Priors having in place of the St. Edward's crown the coronet in gold of Albert, Prince of Wales, and the prelates having instead a representation of a mitre in gold. Thereafter, the badges are prescribed as follows. All bailiffs and dames Grand Cross may wear their badges either at the left hip on a 101.6 mm or 82.5 mm wide black watered silk ribbon over the right shoulder, or from a 16.5 mm wide black band at the collar. Male Knights Justice or Grace and Commanders wear their badges on a 16.5 mm wide ribbon at the neck, while officers and members have theirs on a 38 mm straight ribbon suspended from a medal bar on the left breast. Females in all grades have the option of wearing their insignia on a ribbon bow pinned at the left shoulder. Bailiffs and dames Grand Cross, Knights and Dames of Justice or Grace, and chaplains may all also wear a breast star, which appears the same as their badges, only at a diameter of 88.9 mm and without embellishments for those in grade I and 76 mm for those in grade II. Further, those in these groups are also given a button for wear on the lapel of non-formal civilian clothing, for events such as business meetings of the order. In general, the insignia of the Order of St. John may be worn at all occasions where other decorations are worn, not only those connected with the ceremonies of the order. All members of the order are also required to wear specific robes for formal occasions of the society, including a mantle, sopra vest, and hat. The mantles of the sovereign head and Grand Prior are all of black silk velvet, and lined with white silk. The formers differentiated by an additional train. Bailiffs and dames Grand Crossan, before 1926. Knights of Justice formerly wore black silk robes with a lining of the same material and color. These members now wear the same mantle as commanders, officers, and esquires, which are made of black merino wool faced with black silk. The only other unique mantles are those of the medical officer of the St. John Ophthalmic Hospital, which bears a special pattern, and of chaplains, which is a black silk robe with full sleeves. Each cloak also bears on its left side a rendition of the order's star in white silk. The sovereign head, Grand Prior, and those in the first two grades of the order all have a 300 mm diameter emblem. The sovereigns and Grand Priors are of white silk with gold adornments. The former is also surmounted by a St. Edward's crown, while those for bailiffs and dames Grand Cross, Knights and Dames of Justice, and Knights and Dames of Grace are rendered in white linen, the first two groups having embellishments in gold silk, the latter in white silk. Similarly, the staff for commanders and officers is of white linen with white silk ornamentation, though they are only 228.6 mm and 152.4 mm in diameter, respectively. The secretaries of the order, the priors and the commanders also wear the badge superimposed upon two goose quill pens embroidered saltire-wise in white silk. The sopravest is a long drape of thin, black cloth that buttons close down the neck and to one side, falling to the ankles and cut so as to entirely cover the body. It is similar to a cassock, though it is actually derived from the superavesta, a black surcoat worn in the mid-13th century by the Knights of St. John. Confessing grade I have a plain, white, 300 mm diameter Maltese cross on their sopravests, while members of grades 2 and 3, plus chaplains, have a plain garment, though the wearer's Order of St. John insignia is displayed outside the vest, 152 mm below the collar. Clerical indicatees of the order may, when officiating, wear over their cassock and surplice a mozzetta of black with red lining, edging, and buttons, a 76 mm wide star worn on the left breast and the accordant badge suspended at the neck. When full mantles and sopravests are worn, a black velvet Tudor-style hat is included. Eligibility and appointment. The sovereign head confirms all appointments to the order as she, in her absolute discretion, shall think fit, though the Constitution does impose certain limitations. The maximum number of members is set at 35,000, and appointees to the level of esquire may not be under the age of 16, nor appointees to all other grades under the age of 18. Recommendations are made by the Grand Council, and those selected have generally acted in such a manner as to strengthen the spirit of mankind, as reflected in the Order's first motto, Pro Fide, and to encourage and promote humanitarian and charitable work aiding those in sickness, suffering, and/or danger, as reflected in the Order's other motto, Pro Utilate Hominum. To be inducted, new members must recite the organization's declaration. I do solemnly declare that I will be faithful and obedient to the Order of St. John and its sovereign head as far as it is consistent with my duty to my sovereign president and to my country, that I will do everything in my power to uphold its dignity and support its charitable works, and that I will endeavor always to uphold the aims of this Christian order and to conduct myself as a person of honor, notwithstanding the order's promotion of Christian values of charity and its official stance that the order has of Christian character. Its Grand Council has since 1999 affirmed that profession of the Christian faith should not be a condition of membership of the order. The issue of the order's Christian character and the issue of inclusive membership was dealt with in the Grand Council's Pro Fide report in 2005, wherein it was said that the order's life is shaped by Christian faith and values, but that, rather than the emphasis being primarily upon spiritual beliefs or doctrine, it is on works of mercy rendered through St. John. Therefore, while the great officers are required to profess the Christian faith, the same is not an essential condition of membership, and the onus is on the man or woman who is invited to the privilege of membership to decide whether he or she can with a good conscience promise to be faithful to the stated aims and purposes of this Christian lay order of chivalry. On the subject of inclusive membership, the report stated, Christian hospitality is a criterion which can be applied to the order's relationships to persons of other religious faiths, and the order needs to be characterized by a hospitable disposition towards other faith traditions while holding fast to its own origins and foundational identity in Christian faith. Precedence. As the Order of St. John is international, its place of precedence varies from country to country. Unlike those of other hierarchical orders, all grades of the Order of St. John rank between the order's predecessor and successor. Some examples follow. Bibliography. Hogan Dyckhoff, Hans J. The legitimacy of orders of St. John. A historical and legal analysis and case study of a para-religious phenomenon. Leiden. University of Leiden. ISBN 90-6550-954-2. McCreary, Christopher. The Maple Leaf and the White Cross. A History of St. John Ambulance and the Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem in Canada. Toronto. Dundurn Press. ISBN 978-1-55002-740-2. King, J. The Grand Priory of the Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem in England. ISBN 978-1-4940-5105-1. Riley Smith, Jonathan. The Order of St. John in England, 1827–1858. In Barber, Malcolm. The Military Orders. Fighting for the Faith and Caring for the Sick. Aldershot. Variorum. pp. 121–38. ISBN 0-86078-438-X. Riley Smith, Jonathan. Simon Christopher. The Crusades, Christianity, and Islam. Columbia University Press. ISBN 978-0-231-51794-2. Sire, J.A. The Knights of Malta. Yale University Press. ISBN 978-0-300-06885-6. Stevens, Edward Bell. The Basque Provinces. Their Political State, Scenery, and Inhabitants, with Adventures among the Carlists and Cristinos. Whitaker and Co. Temple, Philip, ed. St. John's Gate and St. John's Lane. South and East Clerkenwell. Survey of London 46. New Haven, London. English Heritage. pp. 142–63. ISBN 978-0-300-13727-9. Elizabeth II, Supplemental Royal Charter, 1974. In Elizabeth II, Royal Charters and Statutes of the Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, 5, Westminster. Queen's Printer. 6, retrieved 9 August 2009.